Hi. Welcome back.
We're your host. I'm Khalid, but you can call me KK.
And I'm Leaha, and this is
As We Go.
Today's episode is a bit heavy, as you can tell from the title. We are talking about grief.
We're going to try to keep it light, though, because, I feel like there's levels of it for sure.
Right. And grief is something that everybody has to go through on so many different levels. So, everyone can relate to it, and everyone has to get through it, so.
Right. For example, if you haven't heard me say this in the other episodes, this season is us honoring our 20s and, appreciating them and talking about the things that we've learned and also the things that we will miss about our 20s. So I know I've been feeling it kind of heavy on and off, grieving certain parts of, the past and youth.
And that's a thing that I didn't even think about. It's crazy how you can grieve something that you still have. Because
Literally.
you're still in your 20s, but you just know that it's not infinite, and you can see it coming to an end, and you're kind of processing the grief before you even can grieve it, which is, just kind of crazy.
It's something.
Yeah.
It's something for sure.
But yeah, so there's so many different forms of grief. So just aging, different versions of yourself. That's,
Yeah, the most common one I feel like, or the main one that gets talked about, is people.
Of course, right.
But not just like losing them to death, but also, friendships. Things happen, people drift apart.
Relationships.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone has a relationship that they, had to grieve for a little bit on.
For sure. But yeah, that's what we're talking about this season, or this episode. Ooh. All right, so talking about, like we just said, grieving the 20s and saying goodbye to certain things. What are some things you're going to miss?
See, I never really thought about me grieving my 20s, so that's something that you just kind of put me in perspective of. Honestly, just being being a young girl, you know what I mean? Like being a girl in her 20s, it's just, I feel like there's a lot of
Has a nice ring to it.
A 20-something-year-old, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. In a lot of the scenes that I feel like I'm in, it's still a 20-dominated scene. So I guess that's a little like
early 20s at that. So it's like
What do you mean early 20s? Now you do it a little too much.
But we were at a club in I guess we just had to find some different clubs to go to. But we were at the club and there were 19-year-olds.
I was there? What club?
It was Barley House. They had fake IDs, but they were in there nonetheless.
Okay, that was a long time ago. That was over a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. See, he pulling up old shit.
Look. Not more than 2 years ago.
Okay. But that's okay. I don't even go to Barley House like that anymore.
Yeah.
One thing that's not really about my 20s, but Marley is about to be 10. In October, so she has some time, but she's about to be in double digits, and I feel like that's insane, and that's kind of something that's wow, she's really not look. I remember when I turned 10, and I remember my grandpa saying to me, he was on my birthday, he's wow, you're 10 now, double digits, you're caught up to me, and I was oh my gosh, so it's really a big thing, and I don't know, so I feel that probably more than my 20s, because I am happy, I'm okay with being 30.
Right.
I just hear a lot of times that once you get in your mid 30s, you become invisible as a woman. I don't want that to happen. But I'll be okay. What about you? What are some things that you?
Probably same thing. Just that feeling or the mindset of just being I'm so young, and it's just everything is so new and exciting and shiny. But also, I feel like that's a good thing to also graduate from and elevate from. But there's still such a fun, adventurous, um, like free feeling that I feel like come with a lot of these experiences being new, and yeah, it just comes with youthfulness.
Yeah. Okay, some other forms of grief could be like, using a friendship, a relationship, or even like an opportunity. Anything
Hmm.
recently that you feel like you might have experienced in any of those categories? Or maybe not even recently, it could have been, a while back. Any
Um,
stories you got for us?
I would say a friendship.
Okay,
Um,
those can be hard.
yeah, for sure. Last year, and especially because there wasn't like a specific situation that happened. There wasn't like an argument or anything that blew up, but it was a personal moment where it was kind of like, okay, I need to analyze how I'm feeling about the people around me. And, once you feel resistance towards someone, you, especially when you felt that for quite some time, you ignored it and you shoved it, and it's like, all right, now I have to answer it, pay attention to it, and, move accordingly. And that was really, really tough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you checked out last season's episode about a check-in, like I doing there cried 30 days trying to analyze myself and how I felt and how even to move forward with the relationship.
Yeah.
you know and especially when people, I don't know, when you get close to people, I feel like they literally become parts of you. You become parts of them because you when you're around people, you inspire each other so much. So when you know it's a big change when you no longer have that
Yeah,
influence.
definitely. I can see how that could be very hard. How did you cope with that? How did you move forward with it?
um I would say a lot of accountability for allowing myself to feel that way and letting those feelings build up without like expressing them, and then also giving myself grace for kind of sticking through it that long, and holding on to the bright side and everything that was good that came with it, but also remembering all the good that came with it, and respecting that, and and so honoring that. And that was the biggest,
Yeah.
biggest thing. Yeah. Grace, definitely giving myself grace. I feel like that's probably the biggest one. What about you? What are some things that you've grieved recently, or like you said, not recently, but
Um, to keep it, I guess, on the lighter side for now. Um, I'm, I think that I had to grieve the opportunity that I made for myself. By that I mean I worked very hard to um, get money saved up and get this planned out for when I was supposed to be traveling for the entire year, as you guys know. Um, and I mean, I did travel for a nice bit of time. I think like maybe like 6 months or something like that. But then it got cut short because my job
policies.
changed the policy, and I was no longer allowed to work out the country. So it kind of like just like derailed everything, and it made me feel like all this time and effort I put into something, it's just kind of just gone, and I didn't really know what to do. And that was really hard to I kind of even understand like how could I do so much planning and figure this all out so much and it can just be gone just like that. And that was kind of hard.
Do you think you'll ever like go back to try to finish that plan?
Um, I don't know. I mean, to travel for a year, probably. I mean, it's not to me. It doesn't seem
Or like
far.
finish your route?
Um, I feel like I'll get everywhere eventually, but I'll get it there like on one not fatal, sorry, on one swift go around on one trip.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, guys. That was not,
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Oh,
I was gonna say one fatal, okay.
yeah.
On one nice trip
Okay.
around, just one trip,
No, for sure.
But yeah,
So how are you, or how did you, work through that
yeah.
feeling of having to basically not throw the trip away, but,
Um, so I had to really take a step back and be grateful for how long I was able to travel and all the stuff that I did do, and really appreciate that. And I still was very sad, so I would try to just keep everything else in my life on track. Work really hard on making sure I was able to buy the house when I got here, and making sure that everything else that I had planned out stayed on track,
yeah.
and just still trying to incorporate small trips when I could, I guess.
All right, so now for, I guess, the hard part of the conversation. Um, we want to be open. We're working on our vulnerability
Right.
and just
You know.
putting it out there.
Yeah. The hard one out there, the losing the people,
Yeah.
the ones who mean the most to us.
I feel like maybe the deepest form of grief,
Yeah.
it's like when you have to, grieve your loved ones. And me and Leah have, you know, we've experienced together in like kind of one of the most brutal ways. Um, and even like recently, like we both lost a grandparent this year within like 2 months of each other.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. All right, so I have a question to ask. Do you have, or do you, like, what's your first memory of like experiencing grief?
My first memory of experiencing grief. I don't know my first memory. That's really hard for me to go
Mm.
back, but I can remember one of the first ones that like hit me really hard, and that was my great grandfather, and he passed away. I think when I was a sophomore, or was I a junior? I'm not good with years, but I was a sophomore or a junior, and I just remember crying forever. Um, he was he was my great grandpa, so even having him in my life at all, I was extremely blessed. He was born in 1929, like what I mean, extremely blessed to have him in my life. And he was like one of the biggest male figures, like someone I looked up to so much. First person ever take me driving, like what I mean. So I really looked up to him, and I just didn't ever think that he would die. Like I don't know, just like even as a kid, like like I knew people died and everything, but like him, I just felt like he was kind of immortal, I guess. So when he passed away, I remember just crying, just being in my room a lot and just crying. Um, I'm not really a person who like talks to people much, when I'm grieving, so I just was by myself a lot, crying, and I I remember preparing for track, and whenever um something happened that I was grieving, I always tried to, I guess, distract myself with something else.
Mm.
So I got really fixated on like beating my PR in the mile, and so yeah, I just cried and ran.
Do you think like the running and track probably helped you get through that, or like maybe just getting your mind off of it?
For sure, it was definitely a distraction, but it definitely helped. Just at least it was focusing on a good distraction, and at that time, my track coach, he knew that like my grandpa passed, and he was just always just really kind, and um he always like he never like really like opened up and I told him anything like that, but like he was always really kind. He always was really good with his words, and yeah. So I just remember it was nice to like run and have him encouraging me, and
No,
yeah, it was nice to have someone help me out, and the track team who knew, it was nice.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do you remember your first experience with grief?
Probably same with you. Not like the first that I can think of where it's like, really hard. But probably the first thing I could think of is like my grandma passing away. And it was so weird because I remember like a week before it happened, I kept like saying like, damn, like I really miss her. Like I just want one of her hugs. And I remember just feeling sad and not knowing why. And then she actually came to surprise us in North Carolina. And yeah, like and it happened. It was like the weirdest situation. Even like when she first like went to the hospital and stuff, it never crossed my mind like that would happen. And even now, like sometimes when I think about it, it's like I don't know, or what I always expected it to feel like is not what it was. It's
Yeah.
like this weird, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to say like void, but it is like a weird emptiness thing that it's like it doesn't feel real.
I heard this thing once, and it says that grief is love with no place to go.
Mm.
And I kind of feel that in some ways that it does make sense, even though I feel like I can still give love to my people for sure. Um, my grandpa's birthday, actually, his birthday just passed, and I was just at his site with my daughter who's never met him, and we were singing to him, and brought him stuff and flowers and everything. So
Okay,
I
sweet.
feel like does still have a place to go, but sometimes to us it feels like it doesn't have a place to go. It feels like
No.
it's just emptiness.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Because
love
the
is
way you
like
show
energy, and
it.
it can't be created or destroyed. It's just, well, it probably can. It definitely can. But
Yeah.
right now I'm gonna say
It
this.
could change, yeah. But I feel like that's probably, and I like that because that's, like I said, what it really feels like
Yeah.
because it's like the love is still there, but the way you expressed it to that specific person, or like,
Yeah.
the love signature that's attached to that person, the way you express it with them is just not the same. But like you said, it's still there, and it's
Yeah. Um,
like what the fuck? I feel like I'm always confused. Like,
one thing I'll say, I'm very happy that I got the chance to be there and see my grandfather before he passed. Like he was in like an ICU, and he was like on um life support for a while. Um, and I remember like just being there and being able to talk to him. And I think that kind of also made me think of what he wasn't gonna pass, because a lot of times people like they get like a burst of life for a little bit, and like they just seem lively right before they pass.
no,
And so I remember being in the room, and like he wasn't like, I didn't see his lively, but I seen him like, responding more and everything. And it was like, oh wow, like okay. And I remember like we all, all the family went to the waiting room, and just his kids were in there for a little bit. We were all getting an order because we were about to order lunch and just eat lunch with him and everything. And by the time they got around to get everyone's order, because there was a lot of us in there, he had passed. But yeah, I was really happy to be able to just to be there and just say my
yeah,
goodbye. Um, and then I feel like I'm looking at your situation. I'm very glad that you got to see your grandma
no,
in any capacity and feel her love one last time before
for
she
sure.
did depart this earth. So
Thank you, and same to you. I feel like it definitely. I feel like it. I don't want to say it definitely helps because does it? you know. Um, I guess it is a nice piece to hold on to, like a nice
yeah,
additional memory to hold on to.
yeah. I also um my grandpa, my grandma, his wife. I held her hand as she passed away just a couple years ago. How many years ago was that when we had the query?
Yeah.
And that was different to be right there, and to know it's just I don't know, just knowing is just so weird. Just like how we know about our 20s, how I said, just like
Yeah.
knowing that okay, when a person's like on their deathbed, like it's kind of crazy. I know in your case, it wasn't like it was known right away. You know what I
Right.
mean? In that case, for both that grandma and grandpa, it was known. And for my grandpa that I passed this year, he was on hospice for a while, so it was those ones were all like known, and we got to prepare a little bit for it.
Um, there's a term for that. I believe it's anticip.
Anticipatory.
Yes, thank you.
I don't think I said it right.
Yeah, I think so. Anticipatory grief. And I had a close friend that had went through that, and I guess you as well. And I feel like maybe that seeing her go through that, it made me feel like I don't know. That's the part that makes me question like, is it is it better? Because
It's
you kind of have
prolonged.
time to
Process it.
process it, but it's also like, ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes you would feel like it's kind of awkward. It's like what do
Mm.
you say when it's like and it's like obviously you could say the same things you've always said, but it's kind of like an elephant in the room. It's just like
Yeah,
you're
there's a
sitting
way.
there. Yeah, you're sitting there with a person that's literally on their deathbed. Like this is where they're going to die, and you're just there visiting them and talking to them. It's very sad, like thinking that you can't do anything about it. You're literally just
Yeah, and it's
watching it
like,
happen.
and it still can happen at any moment, and it's like, yes, that's with everybody, but when you add a to it, I'm sorry, I'm sorry,
That did me. That was
I'm
scary.
sorry,
That was
I'm
scary.
sorry,
That was scary.
I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
That was fine. Okay, so how do you think that you um got through losing your grandma?
Music, music, music. Like when I'm sad, I like to listen to sad music. That kind of goes along with what I was feeling. Um, Especially like when I first experienced my grandmother passing away. Well, one of my grandmothers passing away, because that was my first major loss, and I feel like that time is probably a lot more confusing than experiencing it this year. But I remember music. I recently like found a playlist that I've made on Spotify.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh wow.
I wish you would have sent that to me when I was
Uh,
going through it.
well, you can still listen.
I don't want it. I don't want it
Because
now.
every now and then, some of those songs, it hits those little
Yeah.
trigger points, but in a way where it's like, I don't know, it's very therapeutic, and when I just need to release some energy and extra emotion. And
Yeah.
my dad says they've earned those tears. I
That's
love that.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cause like 100%. But yeah, definitely music. This year I would definitely say my cousins and you, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Having people around you,
yeah.
who you're other people who are grieving with you, and other people who can see you and just want to help you and comfort you. Um, I'm always trying to make sure I was around my family a lot when my
Mhm.
grandpa passed, and especially around my grandma. Um, so people around you, keeping them with you. I feel like that's probably the number one.
Yeah.
Um,
There's people who know you as well, because it's like they know what to do to make you laugh, or, you know, or when you just,
yeah,
Need to vibe.
Definitely.
You know.
I really feel like um, the loss that we shared together when we lost our best friend, the trio, the third to
Yeah.
our trio.
And we've been best friends since middle school. So it's like,
Yeah, actually, yeah, we got definitely locked in, locked in. Um, I, if I didn't have you right there with me, I honestly, like,
you know,
that was some of the hardest things to ever go through, and definitely having you, being able to call you
you know,
and just know that I could talk to you and you're feeling the exact same way I'm feeling, and that definitely
100%.
that's the number one thing you need when you're grieving. I feel like is someone to be there with you.
Aw, thank you. You too. And I remember like there's times where I was like, I would I like, it was like I hated it for you. Cause I'm like, I hate that you have to go through this, but like, I'm so glad, like,
That I'm not alone.
yeah, it's like, fuck, I hate this for you, but thank you.
No, I get that.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, and I feel like that grieving process was a whole different like experience because later on down the line maybe we'll give in more details because I feel like it's still fairly fresh, but ultimately I feel like our grieving process kind of had to take a back seat, and like us protecting ourselves had to like get in the driver's seat. And like we've had our moments where we got to just, be with each other, let it out. And my parents were a big help as well as far as like providing comfort. But I don't know, even like now sometimes I feel like, was it properly grieved? But also what does that mean to properly grieve
Yeah.
someone?
I'll say that one probably feels like that changed my brain chemistry
Mm,
the most out of any of the people that I lost. Um just because like how you said like the protecting ourselves, just like um I don't even know how to put that into words, but just people people who people everyone has to grieve, and I don't know. Everyone grieves differently,
mm,
and you have to, I guess, respect the way people are grieving, and even if that hurts, because just as much pain as you're feeling, they're feeling it. They're feeling it,
yeah, could be feeling it 10 times worse.
right? And I think it's really just everyone has to grieve, and everyone's gonna do it their own way, and it's really hard. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like you gotta remember not to take someone else's grief personal. Oh, maybe that was the lesson in it. Not taking someone else's grief personal, especially when you're having to go through the grief as well.
Right.
Like extending grace to them and yourself. But like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Grief. I'm a crier. I cry.
love a good
I'm
cry.
gonna cry. And I cry still for everybody, everyone that I mentioned today, plus more. Um, yeah, I cry.
Mm,
I feel like we lost a lot of people, even in our class,
yeah,
and it and every people. If you ever played a role in my life, like I got love for you, and I still got love for you, And I send out that to the universe, and I hope that wherever they are, they feel it.
What were what what were are some of your triggers while you're going through a grieving process?
My triggers,
For example, one of mine started becoming people asking like, "Oh, how are you? Are you okay?" Like after a
oh,
while, it
okay.
was kind of like it wasn't like really a trigger, but there was like a little bit of irritation. Like I'm getting tired of that people asking me this, or people being like, "Oh, it'll be okay." And I know they're
I,
just trying to be nice, but
yeah, I don't like the it's gonna be okay. Um, I don't think I really have any triggers. I feel like I'm a pleasantry person. So, I know how to make the rounds and
mm,
say the hellos and the thank yous and all that stuff. Um,
I did not like that.
I don't like it. I don't like it, but I definitely I feel like I do it. And I do it sometimes. Sometimes
Mm.
sometimes I don't do it. Um, I don't know. I don't think I really have any triggers. Yeah, I don't think I really, um one time I dated this guy when I had went through a loss, and he was very like just inconsiderate. Like I would like someone to be more considerate, I guess. Like just like I don't know. I don't know what was my trigger there.
I think him alone was a trigger.
I feel like he had to have done something. I think he just wasn't being considerate. Like
Yeah,
what really just happened. Like no, we can't just act like it's like carry on with our day. Like what?
yeah.
People who ignore it, I guess, like ignoring it, I guess kind of sucks. Like I don't have to like talk about it 24/7, but to ignore it, like
It's not happening, or at least
right,
you're not going through it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Were those your triggers that you mentioned?
Yeah, those are probably the main ones. Like just hearing it over and over again, it was kind of just like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then like the funeral, I remember like this year, I remember just being like so over it and everything. Like even the like memorial service planning, I was kind of just feeling like, why does the family have to like do all of this? And I get it. It's like it's your family member and stuff. But
These are the ones who need the least stress right now.
yeah, exactly. And then, so many people come and celebrate, and it's so beautiful. It's so nice to see. And, I'm grateful for, that this many people showed up to share their
Yeah.
love and condolences with us. But at the end of it all, we go back home and, we got to learn how to live.
The new normal. That's what
E-
that was what we kept saying, the
Yeah.
new normal.
And it's like, and then those people are gone.
Yeah.
Not gone, but
Yeah.
yeah. So what was that? And also, okay, one more getting this shit off my chest. But yeah, one more thing I would say was people telling me like, "Oh, be strong for your mom. You got to be strong for your mom." And to me, I'm like, that's a given. That's that's already in my head, in my heart, like, without anyone having to tell me or like remind me. But a lot of the times when it was told to me, it kind of felt dismissive, like you said, like kind of not acknowledging like that was
How
my
hard you're working right
grandmother.
now to hold
Yeah.
it together. When you said that, I just like I was putting myself in your shoes, and I just kind of felt like you putting up this nice brick wall to like, be strong for yourself and for her. and you just hear that, and it's just like a crack.
Yeah.
Like what do you think I'm doing? Like, I just built this up. Like, why are you?
Yeah, like,
Don't you see me here?
oh. Bitch, I'm about to break. I'm joking, but yeah, stuff like that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
You know, God forbid we see our demise anytime soon, but would you ever write your own obituary?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I wouldn't want to. Probably be easier on the family.
And I think it'd be like kind of like your last words to your family could be very beautiful.
It could be, but at the same time, this is giving like manifestation. I mean, I get it. I guess we all gotta go at some point.
Well, this is I'm gonna say so when I lost my great grandfather, like I told when I was in high school, once he passed away, they got the tombstone where he was buried at, and my grandma's name was also added with just her
Aw.
birthday. So like that was kind of really really weird seeing it. And then also my Nikki's mom, I'm pretty sure that she has one already with her name on it.
Mm.
And I think that's just so crazy that you can literally see your own tombstone with your name and your birthday, and it's just the only thing missing is just your death date.
Now that's that's wild.
She can go right now and go view her tombstone.
Would you ever do something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my husband passed away and we're getting buried together,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
his name and his death date and my name, and then once I'm gone and buried, they'll get mine in there too.
You want to get buried?
I don't want to be filled with chemicals if I'm going to be in the ground. I'd
Yeah.
rather just kind of.
Decompose?
Yeah, but that's not good either. So I gotta
Is it
figure out.
not?
I mean, don't we like let out a lot of like gases and stuff that's not good for the environment? I guess probably I don't know. It seems more natural, don't it?
Yeah, 100%. So it's like
But you can also get like pushed into a diamond ring. But
that's
how bad? How bad would like your how bad would your great grandchild feel if they like lost you?
Oh, they wouldn't really lose me.
I don't know. I thought
Yes,
about
that is a lot of responsibility.
yeah,
But
like
it's like I guess it's up to them. But then that's like more
yeah.
decisions that
Could you
they have
imagine
to
also
make.
getting sold for some drugs?
What?
Imagine your great grandchild.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! All right, so we've talked about the things, that helped us.
How do we try to show up for other people?
Yeah.
I try to be there, physically, if I can. And I'm a feeder. I try to feed them. I try to bring food over. I try to buy them lunch.
You never go wrong with food.
When I was in Alaska and I was pretty far away from everybody, and my friend, she lost someone close to her, I would just send her like some money for lunch randomly, text messages just to check in, just to kind of like just let them know like, hey, I know you're feeling some stuff and you're not alone. I'm here if you need anything. If you want to talk, if you want to vent, if you want to cry, I'm here. If you want to talk and joke and, distract yourself for a little bit, I'm here too. I just try to make myself available.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would say exactly the same.
Yeah.
Make myself available for any vibe. Like
We
what
need to
type
go
of
get
time?
drunk.
No, what you need, yeah.
We need to cry.
We on that.
Yeah.
We on that.
Because everyone grieves differently. And, just having someone there who's just having someone there. It's literally just having someone there.
Yeah.
To me.
100%. I remember I did not want to walk into my grandma's memorial service, and Leah was like, "You ain't got to." She was like, "What you want to do?" And I'm like, "I really do want to leave." And at one point, we were like literally in the car, just sitting there for a while. That definitely helped.
Yeah.
So while you're, we're grieving, I know you touched on, like your ex not being, or being insensitive, or not being,
Considerate, yeah.
Yeah, considerate. What are some ways that people or other people, or other ways that people have surprised you, whether good or not so good?
Well, definitely, like I said, like my track coach just giving me like the words of affirmation that just made me feel good in that moment. Um, Made me feel seen, and like what I was feeling was seen, and that definitely helped. Um, I think it's really just being around me. Can I keep
Mm.
saying that over and over? Um, um, Being able to vent too. I will say something that just popped in my head that really helped me when I was grieving our friend. Um, when I met up with my really good friend Linnea and my newer friend, but her best friend, when we met up in Spain, and we were kind of all just going through within the past, year, we had all gone through some really heavy things, and just being there and being able to vent openly, to people who may not be in that situation, and just being able to talk about it and just being able to cry, and just them listening to me,
Mm.
and them like offering me that hug and that friendship and that love after being able to spill my feelings, that was meant so much to me, and it was so beautiful. And like that's why, like, I'll call that girl my friend to this day. Like, she just, the energy and the love that they both gave me, it really helped me.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
What are some ways that people have showed up for you?
Um, I would say, or one of the ways that kind of surprised me, but not surprised me that much, but like made me feel really good, was my cousin Monty. Um, like before I even, got a chance to like even tell you, like as soon as she found out like my grandma passed away, she texted me and was like, "I'm coming to give you a hug,"
Yeah.
you know. And at that point, we probably haven't talked in like, damn, probably over 3 months at that point, or probably exactly 3 months. I don't know. But yeah, she had a new phone and everything, so I didn't know who had texted me
Yeah.
when it came through, and all the text said, "I'm coming to give you a hug," and that was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
that really did it for me.
Okay, so as we are approaching the end of our episode, as you guys know, we do a 30 for 30 this season, which is where we give you 30 insights that we have learned within
Mhm.
our 30 years of living. So today, Clint has that for us.
I'm actually gonna change up my 30 for 30 today.
Okay.
Um, my 30 for 30 is something that you said early in this episode, and that is grief is just love with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like that explains that feeling almost perfectly.
Yeah. With no perceived place to go.
Yeah, with no perceived place to go.
Because you have so much love for this person or for this thing or for this opportunity or for this relationship that you have. And then once it's gone, rather that's, a person physically leaving this earth, or whether it's just opportunities that's come and went, or relationships, they're no longer there in the same capacity that you did pour your love
Yeah,
into.
that that physical body of them, because it's like, but me personally, it feels like when I've experienced that, it's like it doesn't feel real. Like it's such a mind fuck. It just doesn't feel real. So I guess, yeah, because it's like I know they're
Yeah,
not. It's like they're not gone, but
they're gone from this plane, this
yeah,
reality.
and it's just interesting. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Before we officially go, I have a question. What are some ways that you honor those relationships, or you stay in touch with those people?
Um, so I do have like pictures of my great grandfather, my grandfather who passed away. One on my desk, one on my dresser. Um, I actually have my grandma and your grandma in my visor, and like, whenever I see them and like I notice the picture, I send up a little love, little prayer, little saying, just something to, and I think it started out like, when I would see a picture, I would like kind of be sad or maybe a tear would fall, but now it's like what did your dad say about, what did you just say?
They earned the
They earn the
tears.
tears. Like if them tears are coming, like let it flow and send it up. So, um, I think just thoughts, thinking about them, looking at pictures, sharing the stories. Like I said, when I was just at my grandpa's grave, and Marley, he died. My grandpa died when I was in high school. Marley wasn't born until 2015. So it's like just just keeping the memory alive.
Yeah.
There's kind of that one saying that's like, um, you're only dead until the last person who remembers you. What is that or something?
From Coco?
Oh, I think it came from far before
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Coco,
I'm
but
sure. But that's where I've heard it from.
but yeah, something like that. So
Like the last person says your name, or the last person
yeah,
thinks of you. Yeah.
that's why people are like obsessed with legacy though. Like they want to get their name on this building and stuff like that. But that's for another day.
Question: what are some ways that you honor those relationships, or you stay in touch with those people?
Um, so I do have like pictures of my great grandfather, my grandfather who passed away. One on my desk, one on my dresser. Um, I actually have my grandma and your grandma in my visor, and like, whenever I see them and like I notice the picture, I send up a little love, little prayer, little saying, just something to, and I think it started out like, when I would see a picture, I would like kind of be sad or maybe a tear would fall, but now it's like what did your dad say about, what did you just say?
They earned the
They earn the
tears.
tears. Like if them tears are coming, like let it flow and send it up. So, um, I think just thoughts, thinking about them, looking at pictures, sharing the stories. Like I said, when I was just at my grandpa's grave, and Marley, he died. My grandpa died when I was in high school. Marley wasn't born until 2015. So it's like just just keeping the memory alive.
Yeah.
There's kind of that one saying that's like, um, you're only dead until the last person who remembers you. What is that or something?
From Coco?
Oh, I think it came from far before
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Coco,
I'm
but
sure. But that's where I've heard it from.
but yeah, something like that. So
Like the last person says your name, or the last person
yeah,
thinks of you. Yeah.
that's why people are like obsessed with legacy though. Like they want to get their name on this building and stuff like that. But that's for another day. How about you?
The music that I listen to. Sometimes I'll go listen to a specific song to that's related to whoever I'm thinking about at the moment. Um, one of the hardest parts of going through the grieving process, especially like the early stages, for me is like moments where I see a funny video. This happened like a lot with Dominique. I'd be on TikTok and I'd like go to send it to her, or I'd be like, ah, and she'd be the only one who like,
Yeah, who you want to send this to? Who you make sense to
yeah,
send to? Yeah.
exactly. Um, so now when I see videos like that, I just like, especially if I instantly think of her, I just kind of take it as like she
A
sent it to
message.
me,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
love listening to the messages. I'm very big on like, oh, a cardinal. Like
yeah.
that's for me. Like
Me and Nikki saw one the other day when we were at the park.
I feel like those help me. The little messages. If I hear a song that like this doesn't come on the radio much, what is
Yeah.
he playing for? Like, it's just like
Oop,
oh. Alrighty, so sorry about that if you guys are watching us, but our battery did just die.
And we currently don't know where the second one is.
But that's okay because we're literally in our closing out of this episode anyway. So I'm sorry you won't get to see our beautiful faces, but you can still hear our beautiful voices.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll have something cool going on the screen while we're talking. But yeah, to close this out.
Please know that you are not alone. Please know that you're doing better than you think. And please feel free to share your experience with grief and any coping mechanisms you may have. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Leah.
My name is Khalid, but you can call me KK.
You can follow us at
As We Go the podcast on Instagram. You can also find us on Spotify,
Apple Music, Apple Podcasts,
YouTube, interviews.com.
and all those good things. Don't forget to follow us on our personal Instagrams as well.
You can follow me at eternal.lid.
And you can follow me at lee.ahh5. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.